I see this in the security sector now and a few other sectors around that are leaning more on what we'll term the civilians or the university graduates or just the regular Joes.
Well, we do a thing every year. We start in January with UCL with their, I never remember what's the name of that poor girl that was shot who worked for the BBC? Come back to me in a minute. And they have a section of the university, and they degrees and masters in international terrorism, money laundering, you name it, they deal with it. Mark Evans is the visiting professor, very, very experienced guy. Spent a lot of time in Northern Ireland with our mutual friends. And so we start off in January, we take them along to Church Court Chambers, great barristers' chambers. And we have one of the barristers, His Honour Judge Witcher, who talks to them about, it doesn't matter what you do, where you go, how you do it, you've got to have legal backup, because in this day and age, if you have not got legal backup, I don't care who you are, be advised trouble is coming, usually in the shape of him or somebody like him. And then he sort of integrates that across to say, it's why we work with these guys at Dilettas, they understand that. If we want something done, we will go to them. They understand the need for having legal top cover and won't move without it, which we never do. The days of 25, 30 years ago, people talking out the side of the mouth going, don't worry, I'll square that one out, I'll be perfect. Those days are over and done with and dead. You're going to end up in court or all sorts of grief and aggravation. And then from that, we give a little bit of talk at the time. They ask questions. In the true traditions of the service, we then repair to the pub round the corner. And from that, there's always a number of guys and girls that will say, can you teach us a bit about surveillance? I mean, the one we did in May, we had 28 of them. And so we bring them all down to the office. They have a day with us. 2 or 3 of the surveillance operators will be there. It'll be death by PowerPoint, telling war stories, but drumming into them what tradecraft is and why you do it and what you don't do. They just soak it up like water on a dry sponge. And then we tip them out the following day into Kingston. We set them up into little teams. They've been prepared. They have their rabbits to follow. We've got a third eye wandering about to see whether they spot that. And, it's not a walk around Kingston admiring the ice cream stands. They have specific things to do, and there's 4 or 5 exercises that get progressively more difficult. And at the end of the day, in the true traditions of the service, we end up in the pub. And each team's got to give the instructors a 10-minute briefing on what they think their target was doing, what did he or she do, we do all sorts of things. Like we send them into the Apple shop, and so the target's got a whole load of URLs like nuclear weapon capability or nuclear fission, nuclear fusion. And so the idea is we expect them to get really close to be able. There's no point telling me he was in Apple all day. What was he looking for? Some of the smarter ones just go click and have a look at exactly what they've been looking at. Then he disappears up, or she disappears up to Waterstones, history of the Russian Revolution, this, blah, blah, blah. So there is a picture, and in the meantime, the target's wandering around into some of the more expensive jewellery shops. The jewellery shops in Kingston have got to know us now. And they take photographs and they make notes.
So it sounds like as an exercise, you're almost growing and developing with the different threats out there.
Yeah.
How do you keep up with that? Because I know as an organisation, we do a lot on travel safety.
Yeah.
And we're always looking at what's the new threat, and then trying to find a way of integrating that. How do you do that?
No,